All right. Well, I want to welcome you. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for sticking around and tuning in and letting your heart open up. You know, I have this quote in the back of my Bible that I wrote many, many years ago that says, "Do not be sober with unbelief, but be drunk with expectation." And there's two different ways to look at expectation. One is that you're expecting that things have to happen a certain way. And if that's the case, when we expect that things have to have a certain specific outcome in order for us to be happy, then that is usually a way for us to be disappointed. And expectations in that case can be planned disappointment. But if you are raising your expectation for something good and just raising a sense of expectancy, then I am convinced that is the breeding ground for miracles. So let's not be sober with unbelief, but let's be drunk with expectation. And I sometimes have to remind myself of that because I think that I can even tend to just get lulled into the energy of everything around us. So I want to continue this idea of turning panic to prosperity. And panic attacks have absolutely ruined me in the past. And my ability to help people overcome panic has been really key to some of my best work. My own breakthrough is the key to my best work, just like yours is the key to your best work. And I've been able to help maybe thousands of people, which has been a huge blessing. So one of the keys that I want to think about for now, if we didn't touch on this yesterday, is to honor everything that you're feeling as it comes. It's possible I want to close some of these out. It's possible to honor your feelings without letting them overtake you. You can feel the panic without giving in to panic. Feel the panic without giving in to panic. And know that even though it feels uncomfortable, it's not dangerous. No matter what you're feeling, if it feels like you're just panicky and full of fear, it's not dangerous. So I want to know who's here. I'd love it if you can send me a comment and say where you're tuning in from. And hopefully the comments will come on into me. And even if you're watching the replay, let me know where you're watching from. And I'm streaming to YouTube. I haven't really been on YouTube in way too many years. So that's kind of interesting. And we're also here on Facebook, I believe on my profile. So I thank you for being here. And I want to, like we're talking about, it's wisdom that helps us reign in life. And yesterday we looked at some of Proverbs 15, and today I want to look at some points from Proverbs 16 or 17, because today's March 17th, and there's no March Madness, so it's kind of depressing, even though happy St. Patrick's Day. You just kind of want to watch basketball with a green beer. I don't know. Yeah, there's no basketball. So thanks for that heart. Thank you. Sonia, hello. Only here for a minute. Gotcha. Well, join us on the replay. Now I'm going to look at Proverbs 17, just a few verses that I highlighted from the Passion Translation. Let's see. Wise instruction is like a costly gem. It turns the impossible into success. Wise instruction is like a costly gem. It turns the impossible into success. And today we're talking about creating prosperity in time of panic. And really all you need to know is that there's some kind of wisdom that can make the impossible into a success. And that's what it says right here, wise instruction. And we know that wise instruction comes from God. I love this verse. Love overlooks the mistakes of others. Love overlooks. Love is the currency of the kingdom of heaven. Love is the currency of the supernatural realm. Love, faith, and hope, righteousness, peace, and joy. So love overlooks the mistakes of others, but dwelling on the failures of others devastates friendships. Dwelling on the mistakes of others devastates friendships. Now, you know, when friendships are really going through turmoil and ending, that is the difference between kingdom business and kingdom prosperity and the kingdom way of doing life. In the kingdom, we love at all times. In fact, this is going to say so right over here. Verse 17, a dear friend will love you no matter what. A different translation say a friend loves at all times, and a family sticks together through all kinds of trouble. And so I'll get to another verse later, but the kingdom way and the supernatural way, if we're going to tap into this wisdom that shows us how to create prosperity in times of panic, and it's an upside down kind of thinking. And I feel like in the worldly marketplace, we feel like there's this big breakthrough when you can think win-win. And I do tip my hat to Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People in the early 80s or 90s, I guess 90s. And one of his habits was think win-win, which at the time was superior for sure to think win-lose, right? In business, so often we think, I'm going to win, you're going to lose. And the one with who gains the most at whatever expense wins. And so to come up to a level of thinking win-win, that can be superior. But the kingdom, it's not like that. It's not like win-win. It's win-win-win-win. Everybody wins. In some ways, it is for a season, if I have to lose to help you win. You know, I think of very successful entrepreneurs who it might have looked like for a season, they took time to lose in order to let their salesmen win, because their salesmen had to be fed well to build their business. I learned that from John McCormick in a book called Self-Made in the USA. And his point was that nobody is really self-made. But when he was $240,000 in debt, some foreign immigrants taught him how they thought, how they created millions coming to this country with so much less than he had. And so many of them would sleep in the back of their donut shop maybe for years, or they would live on rice and beans and just live very frugally so they could pay their salespeople to build their business until it was profitable. Well, that does not seem like thinking win-win, but that is win and long-term win. But in the kingdom, if a friend loves at all times, then we're thinking win-win-win. What makes you win? What's it mean to honor somebody above yourself? What's it mean? The world might love you, scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, and I'll love you until I don't anymore. But that's not kingdom family. The kingdom way, right, really truly is a family way. A family sticks together through all kinds of trouble. And so this is my prayer for you as you're starting to think, how can I prosper in this time of panic? Well, the very first way, of course, 1 John says, I pray that you can prosper and be in health even as your soul prospers. And so we're talking, of course, from the inside out. And what is prosperity? That's a great question. And in my world, I believe that prosperity means to have everything you need to do everything that God's called you to, and to be enough to be also generous on every occasion. Right? So prospering means you have enough resources to do everything God's calling you to do, and to be generous on every occasion. So that's prosperity. It starts in your soul, and it's born in this culture that loves at all times. So that's higher than thinking win-win. And it's definitely higher than thinking win, lose, right? Here in Tennessee, there's these kids, I don't know how old they were, but there's a huge national shortage right now, apparently, of like hand sanitizer. I'm not sure why. Like, come on, people, soap and water is better, but I get it. Whatever touch points when you're not around a sink with soap and water, you want to use hand sanitizer. So there was a great shortage. And these guys in Tennessee and I live in Tennessee, so this makes it worse because it's national news. And they had stockpiled like 1,400 bottles of hand sanitizer, and then they couldn't sell it. The authorities were called and they donated it all or something crazy. Hey, Brandy. And so I'm talking about what is win, win, win versus win, lose. And if we're thinking, yes, you're live. If you're thinking to win at someone else's expense, that's never, ever how to create prosperity and panic. That is how to operate at the lowest level. So how we create prosperity in a time of panic is by, number one, mastering our greatest resource. And our greatest resource, well, I've always said that our greatest resource is our ability to master our state under any pressure. But I think that might be your second greatest resource. But mastering your energy. As I'm thinking about energy, I'm like, hey, I'm not plugged in. I might die. Not me, my laptop. But mastering your emotional state, mastering your mindset is really very much up there in your greatest resource. The only thing that is greater than being able to master your mindset is being able to tap into the mind of God for supernatural answers. I just don't think that's possible if we don't, if we don't do what we can in our own mindset mastery. And so as you think about taking every thought captive to the obedience of Jesus, it means that you are having your spirit man, that part of you that is in contact with God, that is in fellowship with God, having that be in supremacy over your flesh and your soul. So I don't know if you know this. I should have had a picture. Maybe tomorrow I'll use the whiteboard. I forgot to put up the whiteboard. I'm working on a new painting and I don't like it. So I put more gesso over. I just don't like, I liked this earlier this summer. I don't like it right now. But the beauty of creativity is you can always recreate. If you don't love it yet, you keep going till you love it. Did you know that there's a Psalm, I think Psalm 91, the Lord says, with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. I'm like, hey, if you're not satisfied, it's not the end. Everything's going to work out in the end. If it's not working out, it's not the end. If you're not satisfied, then this is not the end of your life. So I'll talk about this tomorrow, but you are a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a body. And your soul is your mind and your will and your emotions, and is very much influenced by all the energy around you. Most people think that we're just a mind and a body. And if we can control our mind-body experience, then we are truly masters. And your flesh, with your flesh, your body, that's where you contact this physical realm. That's how you receive sensory input through your hearing and your seeing and what you taste and what you feel. And everything is still energy. Even if it feels solid, like you're feeling it, it's all still energy. But get this, what we see with our eyes, it's not accurate. None of us sees accurately. We actually see with our brain. And what we see with our eyes, it goes into our eyeballs and on these retinal cells behind our eyes, all the data that comes in becomes little beams of energy. And these retinal cells, I'm told by Lynn Lesnesky, my mentor in the creative field, she is the one who told me that your retinal cells, maybe 100 million of them, they all do something different. Some cells are able to see left to right. Some are able to see right to left. Some see every shade of green. Some see every shade of red. I don't know about that. I do know that everything that you take in through your eyes or your senses, it becomes energy, and then it's processed by your brain, and then it's processed through the right side of your brain, and filtered through all of your thoughts, all of your beliefs, all of your experiences, and all of your expectations. And after it filters through all that on the right side of your brain, then it comes over here and creates a message. Oh, that's what I see. That's why two people can look at the exact same thing and see different data. So if you get eyewitness reports of something, everyone sees something different, even though they sort of witnessed the same thing, because everybody's experience that their visual data is filtered through is different. So I say all that to you to say that we're always creating. We're always, always, always creating through our experience, through the energy that we put out there. It attracts an experience, and based on our thoughts and beliefs, we're applying meaning and emotion to what we're experiencing. That's why it's true that life is like 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. But most of our thoughts, they're repeats of the day before thoughts and the day before thoughts. Even though we have about 60,000 of them, we get in this routine with our subconscious mind that's driving our behavior. Maybe 96% of our behavior is driven by our unconscious mind, our unconscious programming, and it affects everything that we see and what we tell ourselves about it. And so our soul and our body are so in tune with the world around us and our history and our programming that we kind of stay in this rut. And so right now, if everyone around us is panicking, then that's why it's easy for us to fall into that same energy of the sky is falling and nothing's working and we're all going to die. But if you can change your focus to not just be a soul and a body, but you can really train your human spirit, that's a part of you that comes alive when you meet God, the Savior, the Creator, the Lord Jesus, and receive His forgiveness, and you let Him make you come alive. That is your human spirit. And so as you develop that through reading the Word and through intimacy with the Lord, through worship, then you can always make a decision that your spirit will be in prominence over your soul and your flesh. And, it takes a lot of work. I don't know about you, but my flesh can want to take over quite often. So I invite you to realize that step number one is like to come up higher. Like Einstein said that no problem can be solved on the same level of consciousness on which it was created. And that's so true. Well, how do you come up higher? You come up higher by mastering your state, by moving to a place of love, right? So love is patient. Tell yourself this, say it in first person. This is from 1 Corinthians 13, 4, 5, and 6. I am patient. I'm kind. I'm not jealous or arrogant or rude. I do not act unbecomingly or display myself haughtily. I always believe the best of everyone. God's love in me never fails. It never fades out or comes to an end. So meditate on love. Meditate on unconditional love. And when you take a breath, you breathe in all the chaos around you, I have a client and we practice this. Like she was saying how she practices taking all that ugliness and exhaling all this love and butterflies and hearts to a very, very trying family member. And we realized that, some of you maybe like me, you have to start with breathing that in and breathe that unconditional love over yourself, because that's first of all how God sees you. If you can love the Lord with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and all your strength, then breathe in his love and breathe it out over yourself and over other people. That will take you to an energy that lets you see things beyond just your previous programming on the right side of your brain that's in the rut that you've been in all your life. Does that make sense? Because sometimes I think like, oh, love is all you need. Love is all you need. We're gonna oversimplify this, right? Well, you just need love. Well, I'm not saying you just need love, but I'm saying that elevating your energy to the energy of love is so superior to the energy of fear, because all your behaviors, like I said, are driven by your subconscious programming, but really they're either driven by fear or by love. You're motivated by fear or love, fear or love. Fear has to do with punishment, and so fear hunkers down in self-preservation, and love makes you powerful and it finds solutions. So how to create prosperity? It starts with mastering an energy of love over fear. So as I wrap this up, let's just take some time to breathe in some love. I feel like it's so hippie and like, woo, like really, you guys, I really love nuts and bolts. And so this kind of, I know even to me feels like, this is not very tangible, but I really feel like it's important for us to raise our mindset first. So let's take some breaths. Yeah, breathe in. And in spite of all the chaos and all this sorrow, wow, let's just spread love to all those who are hurting. Unconditional love, sunshine, radiance, brightness, light. God is light. In him, there's no darkness at all. So let's breathe in everything that might seem dark. And you're like a tree. You know how trees turn carbon monoxide, whatever, dioxide into oxygen, carbon dioxide, not carbon. Does it do you carbon monoxide too? That would be amazing. Or you know what I'm saying? It takes toxic air and turns it into oxygen through photosynthesis in those leaves. And we know that there's this imagery of heaven where there's this river of life that flows from the throne of God. And on both sides of this river are these trees of life, and their leaves are for the healing of the nations. That's like you. That's like me. We're these leaves, we're these trees planted by rivers of living water, and we bear fruit in season, and our leaves never wither. Well, this is you. You have the power to take all this toxic energy around you and breathe it in and exhale love and light and oxygen, because you are like that tree planted by rivers of living water. So let's do that again. Breathe that in and exhale. And let's just be asking, what does it mean? What does it mean to turn my greatest stress into my greatest strength? If my greatest stress is relational right now, what does it look like and feel like for me to be just radiant in a loving relationship, and to be surrounded by grace and love? Absolutely. If your greatest stress is financial, then that means that there is within that the seed of prosperity. So what's the opposite energy? If there's no job in your field or it's shrinking, well, then what's opening? Because there's always something. There's no bad economy. There's just different opportunities to solve different problems. So there's always a demand for something that you have in your hand. So what do you have in your hand right now? Let's ask the Holy Spirit. I want you to think, what do you have in your hand? Like I paint and I never think to ask money for paintings. I very often don't. I mean, you kind of think, maybe later, or, what could I paint? Maybe I can paint something smaller, more affordable. Or, who knows? Maybe you're able to teach. Maybe you're able to comfort. Maybe you're able to, there's something that you can do. I love to coach people on how to heal their story so that they can create a new future. But there's something for you. So I'm going to ask you, take that deep breath again. And go ahead and put your hand over your heart. I would, go like this, but I have a mic. So maybe just put your hands over your heart like this. And I'd like you to say, Lord, would you give me a word or let me see an image of what I can do this week, this month, to turn that stress into strength. Good. Take a minute and ask him specifically, God, would you give me a vision of what I can do next to create prosperity from what feels like a panic? Yeah. Put your hands out and say, Lord, show me a vision or a word. How can I create prosperity from panic? First on the inside, and then tangibly, financially, emotionally, relationally, whatever it is for you that is the most pressing. How can I move towards the breakthrough in that? You're creating. Awesome. Good. I would love for you to tell me what you see. How can you create prosperity? I can't wait to hear what you say. I don't feel like it matters what I'm getting. I'm not sure what I'm getting. I want to hear what you're getting. If anyone wants to share, some of these destinations might not come into my dashboard here. Kristen Gray, I love you too, my friend. Yeah. I have had my trainings be continuing education credits. Like some people would bring me in to do a motivational talk, and then they'd bring somebody else that does a short segment that counts for CE credits. That's a good way to do it. So if you have to do training even virtually and you want someone to help elevate the mood, if it's something boring, I would love it. In fact, we can even do a painting workshop that develops your creativity and problem solving abilities and ability to see visually, and that would be fun. And then we can combine with other kind of trainings at your work. That's pretty fun. So I can't wait to hear you starting conversations. I love that idea, Kim. And you guys in Alaska, you're just blessing me. Okay. All over. We're all over. So I'm going to end here. So these are just not too long, but I can't wait to hear. You can DM me and even write that down before you go to bed and before you sleep. Like, what does it look like for my greatest stress right now to turn into strength? What kind of prosperity? What does it look like to create prosperity from what's the most likely to trigger my panic? And remember to, before you uh, ask that, to move up to a place of love and gratitude so you're not asking from a place of fear. All right, you've got this. I'll do that tomorrow and we'll cover some new things. Oh, I wanted to end with one more verse from this Proverbs 17. I love, love, love this because my heart goes out to those whose bodies are suffering. So, you guys, my dear friend, a joyful, cheerful heart brings healing to both body and soul. A joyful, cheerful heart brings healing to both body and soul. We just talked about how your body and soul with the spirit, your spirit's already healed and healthy and perfect. But that cheerful, joyful heart brings healing to both body and soul. But the one whose heart is crushed struggles with sickness and depression. So if you do struggle with sickness and depression, this is a good time in your quest to how to create prosperity from it. Ask what the Lord is speaking to you. What kind of healing does he want to bring to that heart that's crushed? Oh, it's always a beautiful invitation. All right. I love you. I love you. Let me know what kind of ideas you're hearing and getting, and we'll check in again. So I'm in your corner, and you keep playing to win. Bless you. Love you. Can't wait to hear from you.